I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Berger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Here. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no changes or discussion, motion will be in order to approve those as submitted in your packets.
So moved. Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Berger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Treasurer's report. Glenna wants to wait till the next meeting so she can do the year end, so we can see exactly how we wound up at the end of the fiscal year. So we'll get that at our next meeting, but as always, she's here to answer any questions anybody might have. I'd like the court's permission, something came up yesterday, to amend the agenda, and I'll put it in down at the judge's report. I have a resignation from the Arts Board, and I'd like to make an appointment to that. I don't really think it needs court approval, but I like to do that with any of these appointments anyway, so they're in the minutes. First on the agenda, it's wonderful to have Jimmy Cornelison and Carlos Cole here to give us kind of an update and a district report on the EMS. And as we always do, Jimmy comes in whenever we ask him, every 8 months, year. And we're going to try to get the taxing districts to start coming in like on every 6 months, one of them. Give us a report on what's going on and how things are going. Jimmy, you and Carlos will come up.
Thank you, Judge. Fiscal Court, it's always a pleasure to come here and tell you about your ambulance service. As you know, as Judge Clark just alluded to, that we are a taxing district, which I know sometimes has some bad taste in people's mouths over it, but I will tell you that we have been quite successful with what we're doing. As you know, we built a brand new building in Richmond. All the buildings that we have, we own. We built it on property that we owned. We do not owe a dime for any building or ambulance that we have in this county right now. For those of you who do not know, Chairman of our board is W.O. Bradley, Kenneth Barger from City of Richmond, Randy Rigsby from Fiscal Court, Sunday Park from Berea, and Gary Vinsel from Fiscal Court, those appointees. And there may be some changes to those in the near future. Last year we did, the year 2010, we did 14,067 runs. This year we did 14,926 runs, which I think is a difference of 859 if my math class at Waco serves me good. I have 45 full-time employees, 29 part-time employees. We have 7 full-time trucks, 24 hours a day truck, 365 days a year. On Monday through Friday, we have an additional truck from 9 to 5 because that is a big transfer time for the hospitals and that sort of thing. And then on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 6, we have another truck which handles a lot of dialysis patients. We do a lot of those anymore. When I first started 34 years ago, we would take all of these dialysis patients to Lexington, and we only had 3 trucks, and it was always a burden. It put a burden on the service and a burden on our coverage. This works out well for us. We use most of the time part-time employees who get to make those transfers for us, which helps out the overall cost of everything. So projections for Madison County EMS in the coming year, I do not see a decline in responses and calls to 911 for our services. There are times, even with the 7 full-time trucks and the other 2 trucks available to make calls during the day, there are times when the majority of those trucks have patients in the back of them. Now, we're very fortunate that we can turn over time with the hospitals. I mean, if we walk in and tell them that, we've got to move, we've got something going, they take good care of us that way. And we've got other people if we need to call in. We have 13 licensed vehicles, a total of 17 vehicles right now, as we buy 2 new vehicles every year with stretchers, and that's all the stretchers are addition to that with nothing in them. I can remember paying $39,000 for a vehicle, and now they're well, obviously over $100,000 with nothing. You know, you weld to get them with tires. But that is kind of what we're at. We're very fortunate. We're looking at doing some other things in other places to try to make life easier and make us more accessible in the coming future. I don't know if that'll be this year or the following year or what. But anyway, we are successful. I will tell you that. I think the biggest thing, and I tell the court this every time, that years ago, the ambulance service, for those of you who can remember, we lost money all the time because of billing. Well, there's so many changes with the codes, with Medicare and Medicaid, that we can't keep up with it. I mean, my secretaries can't keep up with it. Carlos can't. I can't. There's just no way. And we turned our billing over to a company that does nothing but ambulance services. And we were the biggest, but they've taken on Lexington Fire Department now, have the Carlos. So, I mean, that's the reputation they have. And of course, if we don't get paid, if the ambulance service isn't reimbursed, then they don't get paid. So they make a big effort to do that. But things are going well. Our new building has worked out real good. The couches were said to be a little bit too hard to sit on. You can imagine that, but we're working on that every day, I assure you. But anyway, if you haven't been to the building, please stop by. A lot of thought went into it. For some reason, everybody in EMS congregates in the kitchen. So we have a kitchen table that's about as long as that right there, with stools bolted down instead of chairs, so that we don't break them when we lean back. But it is a beautiful building. Everybody who comes to Madison County that I know in the EMS or even in the coroner's office wants to come see that building. So it is a big advantage to us, and I hope you all are pleased with what we did there. Anybody have any questions about EMS that Carlos or I might be able to answer for you?
No, I really, just be honest with you, I don't see how you do what you do.
Well, thank you.
I listen from time to time, and I ride around the sheriff's department sometimes and constantly on the radio. I don't know how you do what you do. I commend you for that.
Thank you.
And a good
Thank you.
staff.
And Magistrate Combs, I will tell you that, and I've always said this about Madison County, and I know Judge Clark alludes to it all the time, you know, this is a good place to live, this is a good place to bring up your family, that sort of thing. And we have such a partnership with the Sheriff's Department, with the City Police, with Eastern, whether it be for education or in times of need, that we call, we get answered. I mean, and it's worked out so well that it makes our job a lot easier. If they need something, we try to make sure that we're right there for them, and vice versa. So it is just a good place. I'm just really impressed with the way things have come together in this county.
We're very, very fortunate, Jimmy, to have you and Carlos, your full staff, and be able to provide the EMS service that people expect. And you know, I preach it all the time. It's just one little part of the quality of life that makes us the best.
I appreciate that very much, Judge.
I got just one little question.
Sure.
Is the hazardous duty retirement, the ambulance employees are eligible for that? And when did that happen? How did that transpire? What steps was gone through to
get that?
Yeah.
I did it.
Okay.
Okay. You want to
He's
know the
gonna take
steps how I
the
did it, or?
So you as an individual can make that kind of determination?
I did. Well, I worked on it for 4 years, Magistrate Hughes.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time trying to do that. The question was from the retirement board, after the 4th year in a row that I went to them, and I will never forget this little lady. We were 17th on the agenda of about 35, and as soon as we came up, they took a recess, and there's 4 or 5 attorneys, and they got together, and I knew what was happening to us. So when they brought it up, this lady actually said to me, "There is no doubt in my mind, son, that your job's not hazardous, but I'll never vote for it." Well, it didn't suit well with me, so I left, and I came back and talked to at the time our legislatures, and it didn't happen just for Madison County now. It happened for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Understand that. And the deal was,
So all ambulance services are,
you can opt for it if you like. most of the ones, what do you think the percentage are that are in? Of course, lots of them are in fire, so they're automatically into it,
Yeah.
okay? Because it's kind of a dual
It has
thing
to be
there.
a public, can't be private, and there's still a few private services around.
But anyway, it went for the legislature, House Bill 357, I remember that well. It went through the legislature and went through the whole thing. I spoke in
About
committee.
how long ago was that?
I took over as director in 91, it was 1992 or 3?
92, 93.
92 or 93, yeah. I'd worked on, it was kind of a mission for Milt Ward, who was the director at the time, who,
I remember him.
yeah, I do too. And we worked on it very hard, and we just came to a standstill. And one of the guys who was a lobbyist and one who was a retired, John Roby, retired Kentucky State Police captain who was chairman of that board, told me, he said, it will never go through here, but you're going to have to go through the legislature, and it'll probably be accepted. So that's what I did. I drove straight home and contacted them, and they prepared the bill, and that's where we went. You know, I don't know if you are aware of it, Magistrate Hughes, but when we talk about hazardous duty retirement, I don't know how you perceive hazardous duty retirement. I know that there are some people that don't think everybody should have it, or if one entity has it, that everybody needs to have it as far as, you know, your workers. Well, let's take your police and fire. Are they automatically in harm's way when they go to do their job? Well, sure they are. Are we? Do you have any idea how many EMS people are injured or killed in a year in the United States? Several. It is now a felony. It is now a felony to any physical altercation or abuse to EMS. I mean, you know, within reason, obviously. I always tell my people, if somebody's sitting there talking to you like a dog, take it. You know, to put their hands on you, it's a different situation. You got to protect yourself.
My concern is, and I've become aware of this, is the unfunded pension liability for the state of Kentucky. It's $30 billion. It's growing exponentially. $30 billion that's owed to retirees that there's no money there for. And the state budget for the state of Kentucky is $9 billion, just to put that in perspective.
Right.
The annual state budget is $9 billion. So we got a huge growing problem. And that's what brought my question up.
Yeah, but it's not any different from that than it is your regular retirement, correct?
Right,
You draw
right.
retirement here?
It's for all state employees,
Right.
really, not just the hazardous
Right,
duty.
but the same thing yours is
a
on
little
the
bit
fiscal
different.
court, right? You have retirement through this, same thing as mine is, except mine's hazardous, correct? Okay,
think that's
okay.
correct.
I read that article in Sunday's paper, I also saw those numbers. And the thing, if you will read the law, and you can talk to Mr. Robbins about this, but, you know, somebody who set the retirement up years ago, you know, obviously, I don't know if they were in the system, want to protect themselves, but a lot of things will happen before that defaults. Lots of things. And that's not what we want to happen, obviously. Now, are they going to try to maybe put it in a 401? Are they going to change people who are coming on board? If they do, they do. I mean, what could we do about that? Nothing. But I will tell you about hazardous duty as far as being when we interview people, they want to know are you in hazardous duty retirement? Do you have CERS? You know, because we've tried to change EMS instead of a pastime to a career, and it is a career now. I mean, we're responsible for your lives, you know, and some people may not see that as a big responsibility, but it is. So I think it is something that was well deserved, and obviously it's gone up, like you say. I mean, we watch it, we pay it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it comes out of our check also, whatever we do. And we've gone from 20 years to 25 years, and I think yours has gone from 27 to 30. Is that right?
Something like-
Yeah,
that's
something like
right.
that. Carlos is a guru on that. He follows all those bills and things. So, but I understand your concern. It's a concern of ours. I think it has to be addressed, and I'm sure, well, it'll have to be.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
has
there are
to
certain
be.
things that have to be, and that's one of them. And I don't know if they'll try to do it in this General Assembly or not.
What effect has that, I know it's been a positive effect, but what effect does that have on your turnover? It has to be a plus for you to.
Oh, absolutely.
I know it is in the police department.
You know, sure. Especially those who, well, when we first went into the hazardous duty retirement, which took us from 27 years to 20 years, there were people who retired immediately, who had over 20 years. People that you knew, that, you know, went ahead and retired. Now, and I can't remember when we went to 25 years, a couple of years ago?
Year before last.
Year before last, a couple of years ago, okay, when they went to the 25 years, and for new hires, that's what it is. They don't balk on that. I had 28 people my first night, last night at Eastern, where I teach the EMTs and paramedics. I had 28 people in my class, and the night's class got 28 people. So there's 56 that will hopefully graduate at the end of the semester. And I think kids today are more inclined to look a little bit further than what we did. I remember we got in the retirement system. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to spend 20 years there, much less 35, but I am. I'm here.
You're stuck.
And still here. But it has a profound effect on it, Master Combs. It does. They look at that, and it helps us weed through. We've got enough applications on our desk a show pony can't jump over, for people who want work. We are able to look at people to see if they have any experience. We love to hire local people. I love it because they won't leave us. They'll stay with us. But sometimes that's not available. So we do what we have to do. But it is a big drawing point for hiring, Mr. Combs. You're exactly right.
Well, it has to be a plus for you.
Yes, sir.
And then with the classes and stuff, so,
Right.
You've always got a school coming on, like state police.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's there is, in the job, there is a turnover. We see a lot now of EMTs and especially paramedics who go on to become PAs, go on to nursing school, because it's not for everybody. 24-hour shift, 24 and 48 is not for everybody. It just doesn't work that way. Some people's makeup's not like that. But, we're able to staff with what I think are qualified people, and if they're not, we get rid of them. Pretty simple. I don't have a problem with that. If you can't take care of our people in Madison County and act appropriately, then I have no problem with it whatsoever.
That's what Bill Romney said this morning. He loved the far people.
I didn't say that. They'll blow the bridge out before I get home.
Talk about insurance.
Anyone else? Anything about the coroner's office I can answer for you? I know that's not what you want to talk about, but
Any more plans for any more buildings in the future in different locations?
I'm sorry?
Have you got any more plans for different buildings in different locations?
You read my notes? We have no plans for anything. We have ambition. Okay? It's pretty simple to figure it out. We built the one on Duncannon, which you have no idea the asset it is to interstate. Go out there north or south, hit US 25, hit 421, come to Richmond if needed. We built the new station on the bypass, which is always the busiest station. We have the one on South Keeneland Drive, which covers the north end completely, and our Berea station. Our Berea station is the oldest station I have, and I really have a hard time believing that, because I remember standing when we were just sitting hoping we could get it done. Have we outgrown that building? That is a very good building. Expansion with it, Master Kenny, would be hard, just because of the land and stuff around. So do we look all the time? We do. But that would be our next, that would probably, common sense would tell you that'd probably be the next place that we'd look for.
I like that.
I know you do. We've talked about it before, and
Yes,
I mean,
we have.
and it is. I think it is needed. It won't be long before another crew will have to be put on over here. Maybe not underneath my watch, but Carlos is. It's just something that needs to be done. We have to grow with it. We don't have any choice. We've never not gone and got someone. Okay.
I know in your profession, a few minutes saves a lot of people's lives, and
Better believe it.
We can't put price on a person's life, especially if it's your family, or, we look at it different maybe if it's somebody else, but, it
Right.
always could be us, and, maybe just, I think you do a fine job in what you do, and,
Thank you.
all emergency fields, because, it's a good asset to our community that, people has that opportunity to call and with quick response, and I just commend you on your work.
Well, thank you. And the thing that, again, that makes our job easier, and the thing that I know Fiscal Court worked on this hard, is our 911. I mean, we're improving all the time. You don't start at your peak performance on anything. It gets better. And so response times and what we do and what's available, what ambulance is available. And Carlos and I are looking at right now where there's a program where we can program where our ambulances are and where they might have it at 911, so there's not a question, you know, when you give a call out in Waco and, oh, by the way, you've got one in Marbley who just took a transfer of somebody home, let them take it. They're the closest unit to do that. But when you get 7 trucks on the road, it's tough to keep up with all of them, but that will keep up with. We'll know, you know, coming back from Lexington, we ask you where you are, and you say Richmond Road, and we realize you may be almost to Clay's Ferry. Maybe you're afraid we're going to give you another run. But, you know, for the big part, we don't have that issue. We don't have that problem.
It's not like the school system runs the same route every day, is it?
No, I wish it was. I wish it was. But, you know, and as far as the coroner's office, I will tell you that I got a call yesterday from London, and they asked if they could bring a body to our morgue. And some of you probably can't remember when, with the help of EMA and things, that we got the walk-in cooler down there, and that was several years ago. Have no idea what an asset that's been to our adjoining counties who do not have that luxury, if you will. And like I tell them, you know, it stays the same temperature all the time, regardless if I've got 1 or if I've got 5 bodies in there. It makes no difference. But it keeps us from having to take them to Frankfurt or to Louisville and have an unnecessary autopsy done just so somebody else can hold the body. But they called yesterday, body's going to Cleveland tomorrow. They needed it to be refrigerated. I bring it down.
Where is the morgue?
In the basement of the Emergency Operations Center. If you'd like to come over sometime, call me. I don't get a lot of visitors.
That's okay.
I'll be glad. But I'll be glad to.
You had one body there for a long time, didn't you?
We just recently got rid of one that we had since September. Yeah, September, and you know, there's a lot of things that get involved with. There are a lot of people who we can't find out anything about, and Mr. Robbins helped us with this, and we were able to achieve that and go through Judge Earl Neal and get court orders signed. I mean, it becomes a health issue after a while, or at least I perceive it as that. So it's and it was a busy year, unfortunately, for the coroner's office. We spent a lot of hours, lots of nights on the interstate and stuff last year for some reason. I don't know.
I was trying to think of a question I could ask you. You couldn't answer it, but I don't believe I can.
Carlos does all the time. Anybody else? Anything else? Any questions for Carlos?
Thank you all, and think back, 93, 94, I think Eck Rose was president of the Senate.
That is correct.
That's exactly.
That's right.
And
He called for the vote at the committee meeting. I remember I was sitting right there. He sure was.
because Mr. Gunner made a call, and I think you and I went down to visit him
Very well.
and got him on board.
That is right.
You better stop right there.
Yeah. Enough of that.
Thanks, Jimmy. Carlos, thank y'all for coming in. We
Bye-bye.
appreciate it. Okay, next, discussion of the bids on the phone system. Chris?
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick recap. Right before the holidays, I brought the bid opening for the phone systems to you and requested your permission to go back and talk to the lowest bidder to make sure all the equipment was actually there and everything was satisfactory. I had that meeting with them Friday afternoon. The Avaya Sales Center was actually there with their engineer and their salesman, along with Pomeroy, who was the lowest bidder. We went through the quote line by line to make sure all the equipment was there as we requested and the amounts were correct, and it all was, and I am satisfactorily happy with choosing Pomeroy as the lowest bidder. The next closest bid, Pomeroy, was $53,186 for just the equipment. The next closest bidder was Cincinnati Bell Technical Services out of Cincinnati at $84,066. So $30,000 right there just off the equipment. The first year, what we're going to pay out at the beginning, if we choose Pomeroy, is $67,801. That includes equipment, installation, and the first year's maintenance. The maintenance charge is $5,159. That's every year. Currently, we pay, Glenn, is it almost $12,000 or $13,000 a year to maintain all of the phone systems that we have in our system. Now we're consolidating to one, so you're going to save $6,000 a year there as well. So I would like to request your permission to choose Pomeroy as the provider of the new IP phone system for Madison County Fiscal Court and the Annex.
If you're comfortable with it, I will be. So,
Motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you very
Chris,
much.
We
We're looking at
appreciate all
about-
the work you put into that. I know what you've been through with that.
Hey, Chris, can you kind of update us on the timing now?
The timing, I have a meeting with them, preliminary meeting with them tomorrow afternoon to discuss the final engineering. There's already a couple things that I've had to change, so you know how it goes, change orders. So they're looking at a 2-week lead time on equipment. I'm hoping mid-March
Okay.
to have that in line and on place. And then we'll just kind of roll it out. The biggest thing is the annex, and that's really the easiest part, is plopping the equipment in and just switching your phones over. And then all the other buildings that are networked in will come down the pipe as we go.
We shouldn't have much downtime, should we?
Not there, no.
Okay.
And we'll probably do it in the late evening. Basically what will happen is, well, you'll be a different story, but everybody else will have 2 phones on their desk, and when that drops and changes, the new phone will ring, the old one won't. Your building will be, you won't notice it. We'll probably do it in the evening.
Good.
We'll have some preliminary meetings with all the department heads on how they want things to ring, because this is a completely different setup than what we're used to. You know, when you call this number, it rings this desk, and if it doesn't answer, it rings that desk, and goes on and on and on. So there'll be some meetings. And there's some advanced features that are available that I know you'll probably be interested in that you can buy the licensing for, like your voicemail, email, and those kinds of things.
Right.
So there's a lot coming down, and I'll be meeting with them. But it looks to be like somewhere between $20,000 and $25,000 a year in savings.
Thank you.
But everything's progressing well. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, next, the sheriff, we've got a revised budget or amended budget. And Sheriff, I can let you do it, or I can do it. When we were working on the budget, he had a line item that the previous sheriff had been carrying that really didn't bring in anything. So we took that out, but there was $15,000 that was included in that for MDA software maintenance and also his air cards and maintenance. So we need to revise that budget to include that $15,000 for the MDT software. And if you'll look, we put it under a line item under equipment in the budget. No questions, Jerry's here. Motion be order to approve the revised budget of including $15,000 for equipment for the sheriff.
Without this, you really can't operate, can you?
No, I think Chris can probably explain better than anybody.
Chris takes care of all them.
The email, the e-files and e-warrants, we have to have it. We're so far behind, Chris, I think you could probably say more about it than anybody. We're so far behind on the MDTs. Upgrading, it's a must. Technology's here, we have to go with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this was way back 2004. I can't believe I was even around at that point. But 2004, there was $1 million grant passed down from Homeland Security for MDTs. The sheriff's office got, I think it was 10 or 15, and then they got another 10. Well, they have not been upgraded or replaced since then. So you're talking about a sheriff's office running with computers that are, you know, what, 9 years old, 7, 8, 9 years old, somewhere in that ballpark. They don't work. They don't keep up. They won't run the new software. 911 board's spending money to upgrade CAD and new software and everything else, and here they are in dilapidated equipment. The air cards are, you know, especially important for them for the areas they cover, the speed they need. Now they can look up warrants online through all of that, which is helping them collect the money there. So it really is an important asset to the sheriff's office to be able to have equipment in their vehicles that work. They can look up this information. They can have CAD records. When they pull up to a scene, they can look up and see how many times they've been to that scene since the last time they were there. And there's notes, what CSEP zone is it in, the guy that lives here has guns, the guy's a convicted felon. All that stuff is right there at their hands. Now this stuff is available in every car in the county. Berea does it, Richmond does it, the county does it, Fire has it, EMS has it. So it's kind of something that's evolved into a big program, and everybody's keeping up with it, and hopefully Sheriff Combs can get some upgraded equipment in his vehicles to help him keep moving forward. And we talked already in the pursuing years to buy so many new ones every year to keep that rotation going. Because, like, you know, this is, I think I'm going to steal Carl's word here, forklift upgrade. We're having to replace all 25, which ideally you don't want to do that. You want to be able to buy 2 or 3 at a time, kind of keep that thing just flowing through. So that's kind of where we're headed with this, and he's got a grant, I think, to buy 5, right? Yes. And then we'll need to purchase 20 more to keep those going and kind of keep things moving forward. And from that point, we'll just continue to buy new ones every year or so we don't get to a position where we are now. We have to buy 25 of them.
How many will this here get, this software? How many will it update?
That's just the yearly
It's
maintenance.
just as for
Just the maintenance.
it's
That's
for
just the yearly
maintenance.
Yeah,
and the
their
air
cards are
cards.
$39.99 a piece, and they have 25 of them. Plus, then the software that they pay to CAD and all that kind of stuff. There's some software maintenance that's yearly for each vehicle. So, but one of those is somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000, depending on what you buy, a piece. It's a large investment, but they're made to be mobile. They're made to be vibrated. They're made to be in frozen and hot weather and in vehicles. That's why they cost so much money. You can drop them and pour water and coffee and pop all over them. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the amended budget.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. County Clerk's 2012 revised budget. Kenny, I'll let you
All right.
kinda go over
We,
that real quick.
We missed the mark on two items. One was the cable upgrading, and the second was the server and memory upgrade, or actually replacement from what we have now. You wouldn't think that a hurricane on the other side of the world would cause me to be over budget, but with this manufacturing of this memory for computers has gone up since the last time we talked about it. So that was part of it, and the second part was equipment and cabling, things like that, to do that cabling job, to upgrade that system. We've moved some money around on some other things. We're not going to spend money in the areas we thought we were, so we're going to come in still under budget. But current situation, right now we are over budget, so we wanted to amend our budget and get ahead of the thing before it, just in case something doesn't work out.
Any questions for Kenny? If not, if there's no discussion, motion be in order to approve the clerk's revised 2012 budget.
It's about 11,000, is that
Right,
correct?
11,400.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next is the CAECO lease, the equipment purchase for the county clerk. And Kenny, you want to explain that a little bit?
That's, instead of spending all our cash we had in excess for this year, we decided to pay the county what we could in direct payments from the clerk's fund and borrow the remainder from CAECO, which is at a very low rate. Usually it's I think they quote us 4.5. It'll probably come in around 2.5, which is extremely cheap for money. And that allows us to make payments in case we're directly tied with the economy. If the economy makes a quick turn south, we're going to feel it immediately in the clerk's office. So we don't want to get overextended and spend all our capital right up front. We want to be able to borrow it, and we'll pay this loan. We're borrowing 150. We don't think we're going to need the entire 150,000, but we'll easily be able to pay that off in a year. So this time next year this note will be paid off.
What CAECO does is they quote you a rate, it's like 4.55. At the end of the term, at the end of the year, they will see what the rate actually was, and they give you the difference back to their paycheck.
And we will also monitor how our funds are coming in and where our excesses are, and if we can pay this off earlier than that, we'll pay that off earlier. We'll pay it off as quickly as possible.
And it's long overdue. Kenny's really upgrading the office to the point where you don't get an answering machine. You don't get transferred to 4, 5, or 6 people. I mean, this is updated equipment that will put him on the level with any clerk in the state of Kentucky.
This is all stuff that's going directly back to our customers. It's phone systems, software, computers, things like that. It's nothing that the county's going to see a benefit from it directly.
So, no further discussion. A motion be in order to enter into a lease with CAECO for $150,000 for equipment purchase for the clerk's office.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next is pay resolution on the food bank on our CDBG grant. And looks like this C&D equipment for $12,629. And this will be resolution 1201. And it has been signed off on by and okayed by the board. And Brian Kirby and sent to us for payment.
How much was it, Judge?
$12,629.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next is first reading of the land use change. It's William Jennings, 150 Cameron Way in Berea, for 7.85 acres from UC4 General Commercial to UC7 Single Family Residential. We don't see this a lot, but is Dwayne, you want to come up and go over this with us and explain a little bit?
Mr. Jennings owns this property that runs from Dale Lane over to Cameron Way. Back when the city of Berea had planning and zoning jurisdiction, they had gone through and rezoned his property to commercial. He's an elderly gentleman trying to get his affairs in order for his daughter, and said they had no intentions of it ever being commercial, didn't want it commercial, didn't know it was commercial. So he just wanted to change it back to single-family residential for his daughter. There was nobody at the planning commission meeting in objection to it. It's a pretty simple deal. It's his home place, and he's going to leave it all to his daughter.
Any questions? Is there anybody in the audience has anything to say to or against, for or against? If not, I think this will be a unanimous vote by the planning commission to approve. If there isn't any further discussion then on the recommendation of the Madison County Planning Commission, motion would be in order to approve first reading of the land use change for Mr. Jennings.
That's in my district, and I don't know, the 33 years I've been here, that's the first time I know we've changed it back that way.
Yeah, it doesn't, that's not normal.
No, I didn't. I commend him for that.
Yeah.
Did you make a motion? I so moved.
Second. Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Next on the agenda is road department personnel. Leroy?
I have one person recommended court tar for a truck driver, Grant Short. He does have his CDL license, and he'd be on probation for 6 months.
Motion. So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Thanks, Leroy. That kind of gets Leroy up to where Jeff and Willie, hopefully, we're trying to get enough truck drivers to where we don't have our supervisors out driving trucks because they need to be supervising instead of driving trucks, so.
We've had a good
this
winter
helps.
so far, ain't we,
So
Leroy?
far, we have. I've had one person off for a month, had a heart attack, and he came back Monday. Now I've got another one come in, he's gonna be off for a month with his ankle, so I need this guy to take over a truck.
Okay, thanks, Leroy.
Thank you.
You'll need them Thursday.
6 weeks is 6 weeks, Larry.
I'm counting the days. Me and Billy Ray's done figured it up. I thought there's 28 days in February, but there's 29 this year, so I had to add an extra day.
Okay, next I want to go to, just read this briefly. It's from Buzz Cornelison, which we all know Buzz. And due to the increased time and effort expected of me with a new job, he has started a new job with the university. His duties as pianist for various academic and community projects and family health concerns. Parents are getting older and they're spending more time, that he can't supply the necessary expectations necessary of a board member for the Performing Arts Center. And my time on the board has been exciting and rewarding. We have a wonderful center, and I'd take nothing for the experience of having served. However, with regrets, I lend my resignation, and this action is to be effective immediately. Buzzy and I talked this weekend, and he just felt like it was in his best interest. He's been an excellent board member. He's been there from the start. He's been involved in everything that we've done. He's had a major impact on getting the center up and running, and he'll be sorely missed, but I respect his wishes. So at this time, I'm going to accept Buzz's resignation. And in his place, I would like to appoint somebody that I think will fit very, very well, and that's Mr. Harry Moberly. Harry has totally retired from the legislation. He's retired from Eastern Kentucky University, raising his two boys, and the Art Center wouldn't be there. And I can truly say this because I've been on board since 2000 when we started this project without Harry Moberly. So I think it's in the best interest of everybody involved that Harry serve on the board. He wrote the language in the budget, he got the money, and nobody knows it better than Harry. So I'd like to appoint Harry Moberly as to replace Buzz Cornelison on the Performing Arts Center board.
Well, I think it'd only be appropriate because of the work that he's done, and I'm sure that Buzz will contribute in any way he can in the future. I hate to see him leave, but I think that's a good choice, Judge. I'm glad you done that, so I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. That's the only thing I had in the judge's report, isn't it, Francia? We'll go on comments from department heads. Let's see, Carl, I think I know you've got something.
Year-end roll-up for you guys. Handed y'all a little PowerPoint there. Basically, the highlights of the year-end review. For public outreach, which is something we continue to do every year, and it's something that you have to keep doing to try to keep the public informed and up to speed and get them better prepared. We had Safety Fair again this year. It was our 7th annual. Over 2,500 people showed up at Safety Fair. It was our biggest group yet. For a rainy day, it was really a great turnout. Roughly 7,000 face-to-face contacts, so we're seeing roughly about 10% of the population, a little less than 10% of the population. Doing that during events and festivals, things like Spoon Bread. We do a Kids Fest, Pottery Festival, the EKU Freshman Day, the Berea College Freshman Day. Talk with the RAs and Collegium at Berea, RAs over at EKU. So we're getting the students informed, or at least trying to. Media campaigns, thousands of ads this past year, taking advantage of the 4 governmental channels as we see it, Berea's, Richmond, the counties, and the school boards. We always have articles running on all those, and that's free for us once we develop the material ourselves. We're always working with the schools and their disaster preparedness plans, and that'll be a continuum. And then civic organizations, we're always with the Rotaries and the Kiwanis and Lions Club. We're always interacting with them as well. On exercise and training, we continue to set the bar in the Commonwealth. This year, in 2011, we had 17 tabletop exercises and drills, trained almost 2,000 people from first responders, first receivers. That's over 600 more than we did in 2010. And we continue to do a new program that we started last year with the EKU classes and tabletops. We're doing it with Homeland Security, Fire Department, paramedics, and nursing students. And they seem to be getting a lot out of it and enjoying it. Tone Alert Radio Upgrade Project. We're just about done with it. We'll complete by the end of February of this year. Roughly 29,000 new Tone Alert or AARs distributed. We're recycling the old ones, trying to be environmentally friendly. So we're asking the public to support us in that effort. We've been running ads on all the governmental channels. We have it on our website and regular radio as well as the newspapers. February 6th is when we're turning off the old system. I can guarantee you by February 7th you'll want to get rid of your old one, because once it stops receiving its sync signal every 24 hours, it will go into alarm mode continuously until it dies. So we know.
Was that intentional?
That is just the way the system works. So we know on February the 7th, we're going to beef up for calls, because we know all of a sudden the people that have not paid attention will be paying attention, because it's going to be quite annoying.
I could use that to get my son up each morning.
1,000 in so far. 1,000 in so far? Okay. Our goal is to hit 3,000, because then recycling is free, so we need the public's help with that. There's
How many do we have
15,000
out
out
there?
there. Pardon me?
How many are they out there?
15,000.
Oh, well, surely we'll
We
get
need
10%.
3,000 for it to be free to recycle. So
Veronica, you gonna emphasize that right there?
We need 20% then, don't we?
we're hoping to hit 40%. That would be a better number than nationally you see on these type of programs. We researched it. Normally it's below 40%. If we hit 40%, we've set a new standard, so that's our goal. The new AARs obviously are an upgrade from the old ones. They have far more capability, text display, they are a radio, AM, FM radio, so when we tell you to tune to local radio, you have one that will work now. You take it with you into your safe room or whatever. And the text display is nice, because if you, on the old radios, if you missed the message, you were just SOL. You know, there was no replay. Now you can push the button and read what the message was, so you know if it's a tornado, a flood, or whatever, chemical event, so.
What was that, SOL?
Yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate on TV, but I think everyone will pretty much get it. Our mass casualty buses, we built 2 of them in 2011. They are converted school buses. They're roughly 19-year-old school buses, had almost 200,000 miles each on them. But as you can see from the little picture there, the insert, once you get inside the bus, you can't tell it's a 19-year-old school bus. And our logic for using a 19-year-old school bus is if you used a new bus and built the same exact inside that we built, you'll spend $350,000. That's the bottom price for these units. It's built by a company out of the Carolinas, and they are the best in the United States. They build them for everybody. But their base price is $350,000 if you have a new bus. We built these buses for $106,000 and change, because we used a 19-year-old school bus. We'll never wear them out. They'll rot away first. So why buy a new school bus for $200,000+? So that was our logic. We check them every month. They get driven every month. The bus garage takes care of them for us and does maintenance on them. You know, they look good from a distance. They look pretty good up close. Good enough that 106 versus 350 per unit, I can live with it. So we built 2 of them for less than what one would cost. Everbridge, our mass notification system, alerts, you know, call downs. We used to do everything manually, took forever. Now this system, you know, we tested it during our October exercise when the federal team was here to grade us on the CSEP exercise. We contacted over 28,000 people in less than 2 minutes. You know, that's when the system went out. It took 35 or 40 minutes for every call to be made to the number of devices, but we had the entire system done. We were done with our piece in less than 2 minutes. And it was recognized as a strength in that exercise. It calls the landline, cell phones, it sends you emails, it sends you texts. We've got all the landlines in, which we're allowed to have by law. There's over 27,000 landlines. They're all in the system. Cell phones, you have to opt in. The public has to opt in. So far, about 1,400 have opted in. It is a free program. We'd like to see everyone that is paying attention to opt in, but if you don't want to, that's your prerogative. We are planning on using it for certain disasters. We're not planning on using it for thunderstorms, though, and tornado warnings. The timeline for those would make it prohibitive, we feel, but we are going to use it for you know, more long-term disasters, ice storms, things like that, where you have more lead time. And then we are going to use it for amber and golden alerts, which is a really big selling point for us, because we geocode and hit a certain neighborhood, say we're looking for, you know, little Jimmy and he looks like this, or Aunt Sue and she looks like this type thing. So, and then hopefully we can find those people faster and they'll be healthy. Weather warnings this year, if you want to look at compared to last year, we basically had 21 severe thunderstorm warnings this year, 2 tornado warnings this year, 3 flood warnings, and 1 flash flood warning. We had no major weather-related events in Madison County in 2011, so that was a good year. Maybe 12 can follow suit, we'll see. Of course, 10 was a horrible year and 9 was a worse year. Hazmats, we didn't do our math so well. We had 30 hazmats we responded to from EMA in 2011. They forgot they had the 2 for December into our total, because your paper shows 28, there's actually 30. That was up from last year. We had 25 last year. The most significant one this year was the Mercury event at EKU, which happened over the Christmas holiday type time, and we spent a ton of time there with Brian Makinen and company, and Brian Makinen did a phenomenal job there with that event. And both buildings were cleared and returned to normal before school needed them to be returned to normal. Looking forward to 2012, we will complete at the end of February this Tone Alert Radio Recycling and AAR project. September is when our 2012 CSEP exercise is going to be held. They wanted to move it up because FEMA was having funding issues with it when it was in October. We will complete our transition to emergency support functions for all of our plans. The deadline by the Commonwealth is December 31st of 2012. We're shooting for the June 30th to be done. We have 2 left to complete and we'll be there. The National CSEP Workshop and Conference in Pueblo, Colorado will be in June of 2012. We have 2 of us that are on that board devising how that will look. We will complete the 2012 media campaign for all 10 counties and the state. That we're doing the evaluations now to see who will be the bidder that we want to ask to award it to. And as always, ongoing exercises and training. We are, you know, again shooting for 2,000 people to train this year, as well as, you know, 15 to 20 exercises. The only other thing that's not on your slide We'll be also putting in a new phone system and joint information center, the EOC, the backup EOC, and the backup alternate JIC, joint information center. But we don't have the bids in and acceptable yet, so I can't bring them to you. But that will be a 2012 project that we will complete. Any questions?
How many employees in the CSIP organization?
12.
Just 12.
12 and then 2 interns, but we lost one of our interns, so we'll be replacing them. We've got 2 great candidates we've interfaced with, so we'll be picking up another one here in late January. So we'll be back to 2 interns. They're great employees. They learn a lot. It's in their field of study, and it winds up being a win-win. They're high energy, technology, you know, they've grown up with it. They teach us old dogs some new tricks, so.
Low maintenance.
I'm about scared to ask this. Are these employees on hazardous duty retirement?
No, they are not. Would you like us to go after trying to change that? No, we are not. We are not hazardous duty. We are the regular retirement plan like everybody else that's not hazardous duty. 30 years to retirement.
Good report, Carl.
Thank you.
Y'all do an excellent job. Don't see how you do it. Any other department heads?
Judge, I'd like to.
Oh, Doug? Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny. Let Doug.
Doug always jumps in front of me. No, go ahead.
Sure. Wanting to buy a vehicle for the detention center. What we have there is not very trustworthy, the vehicles that we have. Been there for several years. What I'm wanting is, when I looked at a couple of vehicles, Mike Rice, he's got a vehicle there that interested in. In order for me to use this, I can purchase this vehicle out of commissary money, but I can just use it for the Class D program that I have. In order to use it for transporting other inmates to the hospitals or to another county, go get somebody, I'm not allowed to do that if I purchase it out of just commissary money. So what I'm asking, if the court would consider having it with me and let me reversing.
We put that in your budget, Doug.
Did we?
Yeah,
Questions?
sure did.
You can rest that case.
That case is done.
But we can go on while you're asking, and you just split the cost of it?
Yeah.
How much we talking about?
Mike, I'm 14.6. 14.6.
Any equipment? I mean, you're gonna need to paint it a little bit, put
Well,
some-
actually, the truck, I'm actually getting a truck from Mike. It's for the winter months. We have to borrow trucks sometimes there at the jail, because we need to haul certain things, and we're actually gonna put a cage in it and use it for transport. It's an extended cab, very good vehicle, and it will work good for us.
Okay.
The decals, we'll get, get it where we need to be with it.
Do you have a cage you can put in? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna take it out the old vehicles.
Is that the vehicle already on our voucher claims?
Mm-mm. No, that's road department. That's the insurance claim.
No.
There's another one here, 14, what'd you say it was, 14.6?
14.6?
14.6.
Okay.
Put on it?
So,
We done bought it?
yeah.
Because they're paying for it completely with commissary money.
Yeah.
Even though he's asking us to have it, he's still giving that half back.
Yeah.
So
It's not costing us anything.
No, not
It's just
costing
fine.
anything.
I thought we was paying for half of it, and he was paying for half of it.
No,
You're paying for the
Well,
entire
we are,
truck?
but I'm reimbursing the other half back.
Okay.
he's paying for
If-
half of it
if-
straight from the commissary. The other half has to come through us, and then he'll give us the commissary.
And that allows him to use it
Yeah.
for other things.
Use it
If he
for
buys it
anything.
straight from the commissary, he
That
can't
way
use it
you
for
can
anything
say your
except.
half of it, you use
Yes.
it one thing and half on
If
the
I
other.
just buy it out straight commissary money, I have to use it from a Class D program only.
Are we stretching the commissary thin? I mean, I know we help pay for their medical, and I think about everything comes up or comes out of commissary, or
We want to pay for as much as we can out of commissary, saving tax dollars, but our commissary's good.
Sell a lot of candy bars.
what's the gross income off that? We getting, I mean,
I'll have to give a Katie and see, but we're good on commissary. Actually, we wrote fiscal court check, I think last week, for $10,000. So our commissary's doing well.
Good deal. So, let's put that in the form of a motion.
I'll move, yes, so move.
Have a second?
Second.
Mr. King?
yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Now, Kenny.
All right, Kenny.
I was asked by Vicki Marbley, who runs the Madison County Teen advisory committee to come speak last night to their group and file candidates. They're going to elect a executive committee for their group. And the reason I bring it up is that group is doing things that no other group of youth in the state's doing. They're really, you're going to hear more about it coming up in the news, and they've got some events planned, and they're probably going to be asking the county to help out with some of those things. They're representatives from all 4 of the high schools in the county in that group, 15 kids. They're a sharp group of kids, and they're really, really motivated. I just want to mention here that you're going to be hearing about them.
Thanks. It's a great organization. Vicki does a wonderful job. Talk to her all the time. Any other department heads? Not, Keith, new building's coming along fine?
Looks wonderful. It's going to be a wonderful addition to
I know Leroy and his crew are out there working, and it's one of those great deals where we're going to have a wonderful building and Grant pays for it. Okay, comments from magistrates, Greg?
I've got a couple, which I know everybody's seen the paper, the audit from the past clerk, and I've had a couple call me on the phones, and, you know, they think that we have the responsibility of it, which we do have the responsibility of cleaning up their mess, and I know Kenny's doing an excellent job now, and ain't saying nothing with that, but to get looking through it, and I think is what I'm trying to say is, you know, every one of these that's elected in their elected positions, shouldn't they be held responsible for their actions? Should it always fall back to the fiscal court to clean up what they've misconducted and wasn't responsible for? I mean, it's like checks been, you know, laid back in the desk, and some of the penalties was $20,000-$30,000 to the county, and you know, I looked at that, and I mean, it's kind of a disgrace to the fiscal court to have to always come back and pay back these penalties and things on these elected positions where we elected to take care of the fiscal court, but then it gets out there and everybody thinks that, you know, it's our fault that we done it, but to clear up the matters.
The bigger counties come under a completely different process. If you'd like me to, I can do some specific research for you on the ins and outs of that and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's look at some statutes rather than just trying to wing an answer, because that's not the best thing to do.
Okay, so look into that for us.
Well, I can add a little to that. When the auditors were in the office and that came up, there was discussion on whether or not it was an allowable expense to pay that out of the clerk's budget, and the auditors determined that it was. Now, what research they did to bring that out, I'm not sure, but it was discussed whether or not that should come out of the clerk's budget or out of the bond of the clerk, and they allowed it as an expense.
And the other thing we all have is, I've done talked to you, and I've talked with the state road department and all of them on our state roads, and I know every one of them you drive down, they look like a landfill. I mean, garbage, debris just scattered on both sides. I've been over most of them, and, you know, I've talked to several ones, and they say they're going to clean them up, and that was their program that we initiated to buy the van for. And I know they've been working some around the bypass in the cities, but I'd like to see them get out on the state roads, which I've went and talked to you, Doug, and then I've talked to Brandon, I've talked to different ones that's over it, and it seems like there's no response. And you saying there's that on 421 the other day, Judge.
They were out on 421 the other day, and actually, last Friday, they were out on 25, coming back on the break. They were out there, Friday.
Yeah, and I talked to Greg about this. The big problem the state's had is with interchanges and the approaches and stuff. So the main priority with this crew was to try to clean up. We have 7 interchanges in Madison County, more than any county on the I-75. And some of them had gotten really bad shape, like when you're coming out of town on West Main and you turn. So they've been really focused on chainsawing, weed eating, things like that. But James and Brandon have assured me that, and as they did last week, Greg, I called you when I saw them on 421, that they're finishing those things up, and then it will be a priority when weather permits that they'll be out picking up trash from now on.
I'd just like to see us get them up before spring comes around, and then all the grass grows back up through the garbage and covers it up. Because, I mean, you can drive on any of the state roads. I mean, we as the county take care of ours and do an excellent job. But every main access road you get on, it just, I know it ain't really is our problem. It should be people respect their county better and not throw trash out and, make our side of our roadways look like a landfill. It's just something I pass by every day, and I get aggravated as good as efficient county we've got. And then the state department can't keep our state highways, even though we've tried to help out in programs as to do it. And I'd like to see more progress on our state roads being cleaned up.
Well, I think you'll see a lot more improvement here as the weather permits in the time to come.
Well, I think last year, didn't you all, the road department, didn't you all pick up, even your man, Scott?
Not on the state main highways.
Well, I meant county.
We're doing this rural secondary. I'd have to get you statistics, Larry. We did about 600 miles worth, and I'd say 4,500 bags of garbage and trash removed.
But we don't do any of the primary roads. The 25, 421, 627, 52, Lancaster, 52, Irvin, Tates Creek, 169, that's state, and we don't get, money we get can't go towards those. Okay, Greg, but I have talked to them, and I feel like that we'll see a lot more now that they've got the interchanges cleaned up and stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Roger?
Just wanted everybody to know, if they hadn't heard, that the Valley View Ferry is closed, down for maintenance and repair of the engine. Had a oil leak in it for quite a while, and the mechanic said it finally got so bad that he needed to pull it out, and while he was out with the motor, he's doing some other repairs to the framework that holds the engine in place, and the drive line and the hydraulics. Just had minor problems with all of them, and he thinks it's the best thing to do to pull the motor out and do it and fix the others at the same time. For that reason, generally, to switch a motor out, they can do it in a day. But waiting to get these other little things repaired, we're going to be down 4 or 5 days probably. So we closed Monday, yesterday, and hope to be back open by Thursday or Friday at the best. So.
What kind of motor is that?
It's a 4-cylinder Ford tractor engine, commercial tractor engine. And Lexington, that takes care of our maintenance, they use the same engine on a lot of their equipment, their leaf blowers and whatever. So they keep one ready to go. They've got a motor ready to go in it, and then they'll rebuild the other one while it's out. But got to do this other repairs first before they can set the engine back in. But they do a great job. This guy that they got one guy that takes care of us, and I mean, he's top notch. I mean, when he comes down to do something, he's got all the pieces and the parts and the equipment, and Fayette County furnishes him with the hoist or whatever he needs to do that. So, yeah. But we're still working on our new boat, and looks like we'll probably get the money. We're talking to the engineer now with the design, and we'll be getting with the captains to see what they need or don't need. But that's months down the road. That's all we got, Judge.
Thanks, Roger. Bill Ray?
I alluded to it a little bit earlier, and it's something that's a growing concern for me. It's this unfunded pension liability. And if you look at our budget, even counties in the city, Jimmy Barnes talks about all the time, every year the amount that you have to put in the budget to cover the retirement is increasing. Of course, we're limited by that 4% rule, so what happens is that as we pay more towards this retirement, services to the citizens will decrease. And it's a big problem. It's a huge storm that's laying out there coming our way. These legislators that promise and give all these nice retirement benefits, and it's a wonderful thing, but it's not their money. They're promising us taxpayers money, and it's an inviolable contract. You know, when you get it, you got it, and it's going to be paid, and that's all there is to it. But it's more than, it's getting to be a big problem, and I'm building up a pretty good head of steam about the whole thing, and I'm going to be studying more about it and formulating a little bit stronger opinion. But I just want everyone to know that it's a big problem, and it's going to get bigger.
Interesting fact, Bill Ray, while you're building up that steam, go down there and talk to him. the state hadn't paid their portion of the retirement in on the General Assembly in several years.
Right.
Like up in the teens.
Do you have anything else?
No, that's enough, isn't it?
Larry?
I'd say that's on your mind, 'cause seems like every time we meet, you bring that up.
Well,
But, you know,
it's a pretty big feed,
Don't,
pretty big gator in the barrel, as far as I'm
well,
concerned.
keep the radiator cap on. I mean, don't blow it off. I want to commend Keith on the article that was in the paper. Very informative. Let a lot of people know it's just another way that we can communicate, and I commend you on that. Was that in the Berea Citizen, wasn't it? And I thank them for running that, because that really does help. And the other thing, I'd hate to go through a meeting not thanking the road department for the job you done with the last little skiff, I guess you would call it. We didn't have a lot of snow, but we had a lot of ice, and I had several calls. What a good job y'all done. And I want to commend you. I want you to tell your employees, y'all done a good job. And I know you was out several hours. The other thing, I thank the city of Berea for letting us use this facility to bring the court meetings to Berea, a little closer to southern Madison County, kind of like mine, Greg's position. You know, we like to bring everything we can to Berea, money too, as far as that goes, but can't have it all. Other than that, I'm just glad to be here, Judge.
Glad you're here, Larry. Anybody in the audience?
Just to
Howard?
remind you that Thursday, the 12th, at 7 o'clock, the judge will be delivering his State of the County message, annual message.
Howard, I want you to know I promised the kids to go to Wizard of Oz, so you're knocking me out. And I'd forgotten about it until last night.
You want me to take care of that for you, Judge?
I think their mama's going to.
I'm going to take the kids.
Okay. Motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Thank everybody for coming in. We appreciate people coming in and visiting. And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Get these, Roger. I'll get your paper.